Hello again, everyone, and finally we get to configure our web server. Alright, so before I get to this configuration, I'm going to mention that there are lots of cPanel configurations that you can consider to take, and there are lots of things I've done in this course. The fact that lots of people would ask, is it really important that do these step by step as you do, and does it really matter that which one of our configurations should I do first? Well, the answer is no. There isn't any order to do the configurations, so you can go ahead, do one of the configurations first and then do the second one. But the fact that understanding what are you doing is important. You should do what you're doing when you're configuring. For example, I've had a friend who I told him how to configure his firewall, and he has installed his firewall, but he didn't remember to change the SSH port in the firewall. I'm going to cover this later in this course, don't worry about what I'm telling you, but I'm just going to tell you what happened to him. He forget to set his open ports in his firewall, and then because he didn't do what he was doing, he couldn't SSH to his server anymore, and he was forced to delete his server and set up a new server. So one small mistake in configuration can cause lots of troubles for you. If you are a beginner, I really suggest you do as I do and go step by step until you become a professional. I know one day you will be a very professional server administrator, but yet, if you are not, just stick as I do and don't do anything further, alright? But if you are familiar with Linux and you understand completely that what I'm doing, and I'm really always trying to explain what I'm doing, then you can go ahead. You're free to configure the things in order that you like. All right. So let's go ahead. In this video, I'm going to talk about Apache configurations. I mean, the web server. By default, cPanel would install Apache and configure it as I've shown you. You could see that there are 4 npm modules of Apache are available in cPanel, which the one I've told you to set on is Apache npm prefork, which is the best Apache npm module. I think npm event should work for some people too, but I don't suggest it as you are going to install this as a shared hosting server. Then it's not a good idea to change the Apache prefork because prefork, yet I'm telling you, is the most compatible Apache npm module. So in this video, I am going to cover more details about Apache configurations, and then we should go ahead and install Nginx web server as a reverse proxy. What does it mean? Apache acts as the main web server in your server, which means it handles all of the requests right now. But there are lots of requests that they are not some dynamic requests, and they can be served as a reverse proxy, something like Cloudflare CDN. I think you are familiar with Cloudflare CDN or Max CDN, other CDNs in the world. What they do is they cache the static requests of the users on their servers, so they can reply their requests faster than your server. That's exactly what we are going to do. We're going to install Nginx as a reverse proxy on your server to optimize the RAM and memory usage of your server, and also let your server be able to reply to more requests simultaneously. Alright? So, if you don't really understand what is reverse proxy right now, this is okay. It shouldn't be really sounds good to you for the first time. You can go ahead and read about it more and find out differences between the web servers. There are lots of web servers around the world, but the most famous one is Apache, and I think the next one would be Nginx, and also there is a game player which is Lightspeed. I'm not really a big fan of it because it really uses lots of RAM in your server, yet I think Apache plus Nginx is better. Lots of people do not have same idea with me, but this is my idea. I think Lightspeed is not really a necessary option to consider about. If you think it's necessary, then you can go ahead and install it. Also, the installation of Lightspeed is easy. When you purchase the license of Lightspeed, it's easy to install it. They are going to give you a documentation for it. I'm not going to cover that Lightspeed web server in this course because here I just want to give you a crash course to set up your server. As I told you, I'm not a big fan of Lightspeed, so I don't suggest it. If you are doing this for the first time, don't install anything else that I did not install in this server. For example, lots of people are considering about Cloud Linux and Lightspeed, but the day that you install those, that's the day you should be considering about the problems and the issues that would occur to your server, and you need to face them, you need to fix them, and it would take you lots of time. I'm not really telling you that you should be worrying about the issues. Of course, you should go ahead, deal with the issues, but at first it may really be disappointing to have lots of issues. So I think for the first time, the first year of your server administration, I think it's better to go with the minimum installations till you become a professional. Then you can go ahead and install other things. And the fact that you should pay for Cloud Linux and Lightspeed is very important. Here, what I'm doing is completely free. The only thing you need to purchase is the cPanel license, alright? But if you're going to install Lightspeed, then you have to purchase a license for it. If you're going to install, for example, Cloud Linux, you have to purchase a license for it. But I think the thing I'm doing in this course is completely enough for most of the users. It's more than enough even for most of the users, and it's going to handle every request they want. So I think this configuration would be really great and best optimized and would give you high performance. I'm sorry. So I'm using Apache plus Nginx as a reverse proxy as my web server option, which is going to give you a very good performance. There may be a question for you that why we are not using Nginx completely as a web server. First of all, in my experience, the performance of Apache as main web server acting and Nginx acting as a reverse proxy will give you better performance in most situations. But if you are going to use Nginx as a main web server, which is hard to use in cPanel because it's not supporting it completely yet, it's not going to be a good option because lots of times you need to work with htaccess files, which only Apache and Lightspeed supports that. So Nginx is going to be a problem for you. So enough of talking, let's go ahead with the work. If any of my word doesn't sound good to you, it doesn't make sense, then I'm here for your questions. You can ask me, go ahead and ask me anything that you didn't understand, but it should be okay when you just work with it for a few days, and after a few days of installing, configuring your server, working with it, a bit of experience with it, you're gonna be okay and you will understand everything. But the fact that you should go ahead, read something about the web servers, what they do, what is Apache, what's Nginx, what's Lightspeed, and what's the difference between them, it's important. If you are gonna be a good server administrator, then go somewhere else, Google for it and search for it, read the other people's idea for it. They may have different ideas with me. Every system administrator has its own ideas. I've got mine, but you can go there, read their thoughts. You may accept their thoughts over my thought. Alright? So that's it. Let's go ahead and configure our Apache. For configuring your Apache, also cPanel is going to provide a graphical interface, which I need to search for Apache in the sidebar, and you can see the service configurations, and I'm going to click on Apache configuration. Here you can see that, just to make sure, I'm not really sure, let me see that the video is recording, yes. Go to global configuration, and here in global configuration, as you can see, you have lots of things to configure until this part, which is start servers. I think there is no need to change. These are all pre-configured correctly. The only thing I really think you need to consider changing is from this part. Alright. There is a server administrator whose name is Northern Torga, and he is creating a article about optimizing the Apache on cPanel servers. Well, my idea might not be same with him, but let's go ahead and see what does these configurations mean in the cPanel server. So let's go ahead. Here we have start servers. As you can see, it's 5 by default. So let's translate these in English. It means that we're going to explain these in English. Actually, I've put the link for this article for you in the text file that you can go further and read all of those informations, but I'm going to tell you fast. The first one is, it's going to tell the Apache to create 5 childs when your system starts, when your Apache starts, okay? Which means your npm module would create 5 child processes that each one of your child processes can handle lots of requests. So the next one is minimum spare servers and maximum spare servers. What it means that the Apache would keep at least 5 child processes and no more than 10. It means you can put a maximum and minimum limit for these the child processes in your Apache configuration, which by default 5 and 10 are okay. And then the server limit, which as you can see over here, the server limit means that your server is able, look at this, you have a server limit, you have a max request workers, you have a max connections per child that you can see over here. Server limit, max request workers, and max connections per child. What it means that your Apache would handle 150 requests simultaneously. If you reach that, don't go farther than server limits, which means you can handle up to 150 requests. Okay? And don't handle more than 10,000 requests per child. Remember, you have how many childs, and each one of your childs is able to handle 10,000 requests. Okay? This is more than enough for most of the servers. The pre-configured numbers are okay. The values are so much good in cPanel. When you use npm prefork, of course, when you choose another npm modules like event, like ITK, the new npm module, these values are going to change and they are not going to be same with here. but cPanel would make it good in default configurations. For example, if you choose npm event in your AZ Apache, let me show you again. AZ Apache, let it come, and in customize, as you can see, we have 4 kinds of npm modules: worker, prefork, ITK, and event. Some people would think event is going to be better, like Northern Torga, that he thinks npm event is better. I don't have the same idea, because you will get some compatibility issues in your server if you put it on npm event. But he's telling you that if you are going to put to change it to npm event, you need to change the values to these items, okay? Start servers 3, spare servers 3, 16, 16, and 400, which means that your server would be able to run 64 threads, that it can handle up to 1024 requests per child, which is enough for most of the servers, okay? And I'm not having the same idea with him. I think you should still use npm prefork and change these values as I've explained them for your needs. Right now, I don't think you need it and you need to change it, because as I told you, cPanel has improved over the years and these values are coming by their experience. Of course, cPanel expert guys who are on the back end of this system, they have lots of experience, lots of customers around the world. They have faced lots of issues already, and they know more about these values, and they know what is the best default value for them. So you don't need to change it right now. But if ever you think, for example, you need more connections per child, then you can go ahead and change this 1,000, for example, to 12,000, and that's gonna be okay. But right now, I don't change it, as I think it's enough. Then the next thing, which is going to be very useful, is the keep alive configuration. Well, keep alive would really act very important on your website speed. It's going to keep some requests alive, and it's going to have a timeout before your requests would fail, which will give you a better performance when you are working with your websites. You will see the better, even better score on the websites, on the metrics like GT metrics or Google page speed, and some of those. So that's it. If you want to read more about it, you can go ahead and read it here, but I just wanted to show you where to change the configurations. I actually didn't change anything, and because I think it's okay for a already installed cPanel, a fresh installed cPanel on your server, it's enough. Doesn't need to be changed. But one day you may find out that you need to change this, alright? And that day is gonna come, don't worry about it. Don't think that the server configuration is something that you, for example, search best configuration of Apache on my server and you find answers in the Google. No, you will not find that answer, because it depends on your needs. You will find out your needs. I'm really I promise you, you will find out what to put in those fields. Right now, I'm just explaining to you what it is. By experience, you will get what to do, right? Because my experience is going to be different to yours, because you're going to use different things on your server. You're going to host different things on your server. You don't have the same applications, same scripts that I've host on my servers. Because of that, our experiences would be different, right? So that's it. And this was the configuration of Apache. On the next video, I am going to install Nginx as a reverse proxy and configure that so that our server power would be so much more, and it can make our websites so much faster. Alright? So stay with me in the next video for Nginx as a reverse proxy installation configuration, and I hope to see you